Hello, fabulous superstar Aries. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time. It is going to be on the 15th of the month that we will have this month's new moon. The new moon takes place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life. This is a focus on understanding how you're actually living, how you're showing up for yourself and for what it is you most want to do in a very literal sense. Now, also quite literally, this part of the sky can speak to what's happening in your workplace with your clients or customers or your coworkers. And it can also speak to how well you take care of you, including health-related matters as well, especially where they are rooted in our habits. So here's the thing I'm so excited to tell you about. This is a really lovely, for the most part, really incredible new moon energy. The new moon is part of a grand trine. On the one hand, we get supremely harmonious connections with Jupiter and Uranus, and on the other, supremely harmonious connection with Pluto. But then you've also got Neptune across the sky from this new moon as well, forming what astrologers like to call a kite formation, a major configuration in the sky. It's not exact, it's not precise, but the way in which the planets are within orb, they are still communicating with each other. And especially considering that this is an important lunar event, a new moon, well, it is going to set this energy off and awaken some of the real potential here. That connection with Neptune is a little tricky. I do want to be honest with you about that. To me, that suggests being tired in some way or needing to pay attention to details. But for all that, there is so much opportunity here and a real sense of connecting with more financial prosperity, more career-related advancement as well, rooted in what it is that you do well and you do day in and day out. New clients, customers, coworkers might come in at this time. And if so, chances are those are going to be very fortunate alliances for you, even if they end up being challenging to you at moments. And again, because of that tired factor, it may be that a part of you is feeling like you've got to give that much more within certain new connections in particular, or towards new opportunities in particular. For all that, though, you've got such a reserve of power now to feel as if your life in a real way is advancing. And one of these new people that might come in related to the area I just mentioned, well, these clients, customers, coworkers, new ones especially, can be part of opening up greater opportunity to you, sometimes immediately, sometimes in the fullness of time. The fact that this is taking place in a health-related part of your sky as well does suggest that changes could be happening now. All may not necessarily be clear, so just be a little mindful of that. When I see an opposition to Neptune in particular, it does suggest needing to be diligent with things like your medications, for example. However, this can be a time of needing to look at what was uncertain, and as a result of facing up to it, receiving some very good news on a health-related front. It's a new moon. It's about new chapters and new possibilities. And yes, if you're meeting new healthcare professionals now, they could end up being very beneficial to you in that regard. Mercury does go direct on the same day in the same part of the sky. And so, especially while Mercury has been retrograde since the last week of August, by the time we get right to the middle of the month, with this new moon, any sort of uncertainty could clear up rather quickly as well, in a way that has you feeling really good, like literally, physically, a whole lot better. But really, the highlight for you, the big moment, is once we navigate to the end of the month. It is on the 29th of the month that we have very big news, especially for you. This represents an important moment, not just of the month for you, but very likely of the year as well. And that is because we are going to have a full moon in your sign. Now, normally you get one full moon per sign per year, and this is your moment. And it's a moment of truth, emotional truth in particular. It's like the thing that maybe you haven't wanted to admit to yourself, but has been there all along. Now you're really having a depth of appreciation and understanding of how emotionally invested you have become in some person, place, thing, or situation very near and dear to you. And in the process, now you're being invited to remember something about who you are as part of claiming your power and truly empowering yourself. The fact that Chiron is so close in the sky to this full moon emphasizes the sense of vulnerability that could be with you at this time, and a sense that this should have been something that you saw all along. A part of you might be being hard on yourself. I'm going to invite you to step away from that feeling, because that ends up being a squandering of the potential here. If you are saying anything to yourself like, I should have seen this all along, I can't believe I let it get this far, that is where the universe is saying, okay, you're missing the point. The point is that we get to our healing at the exact right time and at the exact right moment that we are supposed to and that we are meant to. And so pace yourself, be yourself, as I like to say, but also know that this is going to be a time when you likely are going to have that heightened sense of vulnerability. Now, where it comes to matters of love, I do want to start talking about love here as well, of course, in light of the full moon, but also given that under the light of the full moon on the same day, we get Venus square Uranus. This is one of the final important celestial connections that Venus is going to make as part of the larger Venus retrograde season. Now, Venus will go direct on the 3rd or 4th of September, depending on where you are on the planet, and yet will remain in shadow into the 9th of October. And it is, as we get to this end of the month period, that this is where all the loose ends are wrapping up in a big way. This is where a lot of the learning that we've gone through over the course of really since late June, when the larger shadow period began, certainly since late July, when the retrograde began, a lot of those larger lessons really start coming together for us. We're able to see the events of the last few months differently in some way. Well, with Venus square Uranus, it is a surprise a minute, a shock a minute even, may not necessarily be a comfortable truth, and yet it is honest. It helps you to get honest. And for you in particular, with that full moon in your sign, the truth of heart that may come forward now may have you feeling vulnerable, may have you feeling uncertain, but also is inviting you to get to that point of vulnerability with self. There's something amazing that happens when you are able to trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you know that other people can do whatever it is that they're going to do. You're going to be okay. It isn't about being invested in the actions of others, but more than that, about staying true to you. Where it is you've gotten off that path of being true to you, that is likely to be where the sense of uncertainty or disappointment may set in. But there are going to be a lot of Aries out there who may not experience this love energy in this way. Maybe more related to where it is that you're ready to look at what was, bring love and light and healing to it, have a surprise moment that invites you to see where you are in love differently in some way, so that it frees you from regret or disappointment. That can be a wonderful way that this energy might show up for you. For those of you open to meeting someone new, this Venus retrograde has taken place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with romance and dating and flirtation. And you are being invited to connect to that spirit of joy that comes from being open to the world on a heart level. And that includes to the options available to you in the context of love. Now, where it is there's been any fear, where there has been a sense of over vulnerability, and if there is any sense of you not liking that, I think that discontent may take you by surprise and show up for you late in the month. But for all that, you get a real chance to look at yourself differently and if you let yourself really sit in the lens or the perspective of love, chances are your realizations at the end of the month are not just about opening you to greater romantic love, but also about knowing the value and love that you have for yourself. And that is something you can feel really good about. For those of you just starting to date someone, well, I do think as we get to the end of the month, this is big moment of truth for you. What do you really feel about this person? What's really happening for you in your heart for this person? Is there genuine like here? Is there a genuine sense of connection here or not? Even if it's hard, you are going to find the right answers for you. And so stay open to whatever your truth is. This person is going to show you something about who they are. And you get to figure out whether it is your own fear that has been keeping you from really advancing with this person, or maybe it's your own fear that has made you want to advance with this person that may not be the right person for you at all. You will likely get to a place at the end of the month where you're able to be more honest with yourself, and that really can change everything in terms of whether or not this is someone to navigate forward with. Honesty can serve as an all or nothing moment for you now. And for those of you in an established bond, what a remarkable time this can be. And so heart is lit up. What you need to feel loved, that is what comes into focus for you in surprising ways. But also where it is perhaps that there are some depth of emotion or feeling that you want your partner to understand, but has felt as if the two of you haven't had that real sense of understanding. Well, it is going to be that full moon that allows you to bring forward all that is happening within you. Now, it may come about through a very surprise or unexpected moment. I have to say, as a general principle, Venus square Uranus, romantic surprises do not go as planned. So do keep that in mind. But for all that, there's real moments here, real potential here for honesty, especially on an emotional level, and for understanding as well. This is going to be the turning point, helping you to understand what you really want to do, especially in the context of how loved you feel. Where the love is strong, well, in an instant, you leave barriers behind so that it can grow that much stronger. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a valuable and meaningful astrological moment. I am going to say, well, it's got to be that full moon in your sign, right? I know there's a lot of vulnerability with that, but it's also a point of power, a point of purpose. And you absolutely can tap into this to your advantage. You might be feeling especially vulnerable at this time. Embrace the vulnerability. It is showing you something about how beautiful your emotions can be. And make sure you are tapping to it with intention. If it is that in any way you've thought that maybe you are a healer or could be a healer, your healing mojo likely is going to be very strong under the light of the full moon. And you get to decide how you're going to direct this energy, first towards healing yourself and then others. Well, thank you so much for watching. September 1st is my 17-year anniversary as a full-time astrologer. And every year I have a 24-hour biggest sale of the year over on my website, NadiyaShah.com. Make sure you're following me on social media. Every 6 hours, we launch incredible once-a-year discounts. I hope you absolutely love them. And thank you for your love and support all these years. Now, if you want to know and you want to get a video just like this one each and every week for each and every sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded exclusive video scopes for all signs for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.